So we'll do the stereo in a second. So heating is pretty self-explanatory. You've got heat up and heat down on both sides. Auto would get to the temperature that you've set in the fastest possible way. You've got your direction of airflow on your buttons there. You've got sync, so if sync is on, both sides are the same temperature, but whenever you make any adjustments on here, it will show up on the big screen to make life a bit easier for you. Okay, and then we've got recycled air or clean air straight in. Your aircon is on the top of that button there. Your fan speed is on the outside, and then you can switch the whole thing on and off from there. And then we've got demist your front and rear screens and your hazard lights. So that's that, pretty self-explanatory. And then down below that, we've got on both sides, front driver's side, we've got 3 heat and 3 ventilated cooling speeds. Okay, and then you've got your slider here, so you just push down at the front and that slides back, and the same with this one, push down at the front, slides back, reveals the USB point and a phone charging point. So we'll use the USB point in a second to show you how to use the Apple CarPlay Android Auto. Now whenever we change gear, this is a fly-by-wire gearbox, we put our foot on the brake, we press that button, and if we want drive we pull it back, and D is illuminated there. If we want to go manual, we pull it back again. So by doing that, we've got a 1 in here, and if I pull this little paddle, it's now changed to 2. So we've changed from first to second gear. It won't go any more than that because I'm not moving. So if I pull the negative on that side, you'll see it's changed to 1. If I want to go into drive, I just squeeze the button and nudge it, and it's now just gone to D for drive. Okay, forward again for neutral, and then if I nudge it forward again for reverse, your reversing camera comes in there. The yellow lines at the end generally are about 2 meters away from where you're going to be touching. The amber light in the middle is more sort of 4 feet, and then the red line at the bottom is more 18 inches, something like that. Your tow bar is quite visible at the bottom there. My advice would be to find a flat wall, reverse up to it until the first set of lines touch the wall, get out and have a quick look at the back to make sure you can picture physically where that is, and then do the same with the amber and do the same with the red, and then you know in your own head how far away that is, as opposed to using my measurements there. But that's very easy. Whenever we park the car up, we just press the P button on the top and we're now in park. Okay, now behind the gear stick we've got a series of buttons here. Drive mode basically is going to change, and it will show up on here. It says winter at the moment, economy and power. Okay, you're going to want to drive the car in economy generally. Power mode, perhaps if you were towing something, it would keep the car in gear for longer to give you more acceleration. Winter mode would be the opposite, it would change gear a little bit quicker, try and reduce any chance of wheel spin, but most of the time you're going to be in eco. Opposite that is your button for your front parking sensors, which you can switch on and off. We have a button on this side, and I'll put some information in the glove box for you, or pass it on to you. It's basically, that is because we're an electronic gearbox, when we switch the car off it automatically puts all the brakes on, so there is a process to go through where we can use that button, and it will basically leave the vehicle so that it can be pushed. So if you were going into a car wash that needed to drag the car through the car wash, or it was going into the workshop where we needed to move it around without starting it, we can do that. It's not something you're going to do very often, and I say I will give you a piece of paper. My advice would be to keep it in the glove box. All right, your handbrake is here, so it's always foot on the brake, push down to take the handbrake off, lift up to put the handbrake on, and then beside that we have the auto hold. Now auto hold means if we take the handbrake off and we put the auto hold on, I'll just put it back into gear. So auto hold light shows up in the bottom, no, not the windscreen wiper on, down in the bottom right hand corner of the cluster there. That means that the car is in gear. I've pulled up to a set of traffic lights. I've just held my foot on the brake momentarily. That light's gone green, so I can now take my foot off the brake and the car will not move until I press the accelerator. And as soon as I dab the accelerator, which I'm about to do, the car will roll. So very handy if you're coming up to a set of traffic lights. It says you keep putting the handbrake on and off. If you don't want to use it, you just press it again and it's gone off, and I'll put the handbrake on. Alright, behind that we have our four-wheel drive system. So the car is a two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive vehicle. Should you be suffering with traction, and you'd have to be suffering not just as a little bit wet or there's a few leaves on the road, but you'd literally be struggling, you can change from two-wheel drive to four-wheel high on the move, sub 30 mile an hour, and you wouldn't want to be driving in that all the time on the road because you will break the system. So if you were in snow or something like that, you could do that, but as general driving on the road, a bit of water, you wouldn't bother. If you were trying to get up a hill and losing traction and you're basically going straight, four-wheel high will be fine. To change into four-wheel low, that's a different scenario, so you'd have to put your gear stick into neutral, foot on the brake, and then switch that across. You can see up in the top corner there, the light's flashing. It's now in four low. You would literally only use that if you were doing serious off-roading. So if you were going off a lane onto a dirty field, something like that, you put your foot on the brake, into neutral, twist it to four low, and then literally crawl across the field, let the vehicle do all the work. When you're coming back out of the field, you then would do the same, park up, level ground ideally, and then foot on the brake, into neutral, twist that one back. You'll see the lights flashing up there again, going from four low, it's now four high, and I'm going to click it straight back to two high. So there we go. Alright, and then behind that we have our storage box with a power point in there.